If you are a gamer that is new to Marvel Rivals, you need to stop right now. You want a real challenge? Actually find the first appearance of your favorite Marvel Rivals characters and their skin in true comic book form. The real game starts here. If you are one of the 10 million playing the new Marvel Rivals game, welcome to the channel, to the hobby. There's room for you all, and you're lucky you found me. My name's John. This is the Paper Chase channel, a channel dedicated to chasing down comic books. Because hunting down the actual book, the history of your favorite Rivals character, is the greatest game you will ever play. Now gamers, in this specific video, I'm going to show you guys what the first appearance books of your favorite characters actually look like. That way, if you want to go try to find them, you know what you're looking for. Plus, I'm going to give each book a rating on a scale of 1 to 10 on how difficult they are to find in the wild, and we are going to refer to this rating throughout the video as the chase rate. Something with a chase rate of 10 is going to be almost impossible to find. A lot of people don't even lay eyes on this book in their lifetime. And because you guys are new here, I'm going to sprinkle in a ton of comic hunting and hobby tips all throughout the video. We got a lot to get to, so hit like, and let's dive in. Starting off with our first character, Luna Snow. We're going to keep this very simple. This first video is going to be a part 1. I will do a part 2 and maybe even a part 3 skins version of this. But today we're doing character appearances only. So, Luna Snow. Her first appearance was in 2019's Agents of Atlas #1. You can actually see her right there on the cover. Now, this is a fairly common book. It can cost anywhere between $10 to $20 based on condition. Now, the chase rate of this book is pretty low. I guarantee you, if you visit enough comic shops, 2 or 3, you're probably going to run into this one. Most comic shops keep their key issues on their back wall. And if you have any questions, just ask somebody that works there. And if you find that one way too easy, well, I challenge you to find the second print with Luna Snow directly on the cover. Second prints, third prints, sometimes they can be more scarce to find than the first print. And if you snag both of those, you can get her origin story in the first Luna Snow solo series. And we'll see throughout this video how many of these key issues that I actually have. Somebody who is an avid comic hunter. So far, 1 for 1. Number 2, everybody's favorite little vermin.
He called me vermin!
Raccoon first appeared in Hulk issue number 271 from 1982. Now, why is this thing in a big old blocky plastic thing? I can't even open it up to look at it. Well, this is a graded comic. Should you get all comics graded? No. Typically, you'll grade it if the grade increases the value or if you just like how it looks in the case. Some people you'll find are completely against grading and they consider it sacrilegious. Don't worry about those people. Now, you might be thinking, what the hell is Rocket Raccoon appearing in a Hulk comic? Well, that's kind of how comic books are. The best characters always appear unexpectedly in somebody else's title. Now, technically, he did appear in a Marvel Previews magazine before this, but again, for simplicity's sake, we know him today as Rocket Raccoon in this version, and this is the first time he was also on the cover of a comic book. Now, this book right here can range in price from anywhere between $80 to $150 for higher grade copies. You might have to visit a few more comic shops before you actually run into this one. People like this character. Number 3, The Punisher. This one's sought after by most comic book collectors. I mean, just so many people love The Punisher. Now, this is where I kind of missed the boat. I actually do not have the first appearance of The Punisher American, but I do have the Italian version. Something to keep in mind, books that are harder to come across or that are more expensive, there are kind of other ways around it. You can buy a foreign version of the comic, you can buy a reprint or a facsimile, and publishers are always pumping out different homages and lenticular covers like this one here. Now, because this book is very sought after and more expensive, we're getting into the territory of what we collectors call big boy books here. You're going to be spending a minimum of probably $500 even for the most beat up copy of this book. That's going to land this one a chase rate of a 6.5. They are definitely out there. It's just a matter if somebody wants to sell it or not. Cloak and Dagger. They first appeared in Spectacular Spider-Man number 64 from 1982, and this is what it looks like. Here they are right there on the front cover. Now, these books right here can range between $20 and $60. The chase rate on this one is a 4. Many of these were printed and many of these were sold. I know a guy that literally has like 56 or 57 copies of this. On to the next. Doctor Strange. Now this is a tough one. Doctor Strange first appeared in Strange Tales 110 from 1963. We're talking about some old books now. You know, these are books came around when the Beatles first existed. If you don't know who the Beatles are, who's raising you? Now, can you guess what the tricky thing about this book here is? You would never know that this is a key issue by the cover. And if I've said key issue so far and you're kind of wondering what that means, a key means important. But if you want to read this tale, it's going to cost you about $1,000 bare minimum for a beat-up copy. And it just gets higher from there. But if Strange is your favorite character, and that maybe discourages you from trying to find this book, don't be. There are a ton of other vital comic books featuring Doctor Strange, like this one here. Doctor Strange issue 169, much more obtainable. And might I add, a way better cover and more affordable. This is Doctor Strange's first solo title. This is the first series of stories where he was featured in, and it also retells his origin. This is a great, more easily obtainable book to get. Still going to cost you between $150 to $300 depending on condition, but way more of these out there and way more affordable. And look at that cover. Look how cool that is. You're going to find the older, further back you go on comic books, the inks, the art just kind of hits a bit different. And they smell way better. You'll see. So Strange Tales 110, all that being said, gets a chase rate of an 8. If either of those books don't suit you, there's some modern stuff on shelves in comic books like Strange Academy that I think you will love. It's pretty much The Breakfast Club meets Harry Potter. What's The Breakfast Club? Who's raising you? Number 6, Black Widow. Another oldie. She first appeared in Tales of Suspense number 52 from 1964. Not many of these are going to be hanging around garage sales or even comic shops, so this one's going to run you at the poorest of conditions at least a few $100s, but if you don't mind jumping forward in time, you can afford her origin story from Daredevil issue 90. Or Black Widow number 5 from 2021 that also features one of her new skins. And might I add, this series has some incredible Adam Hughes covers. Number 7, everyone's favorite little shark pup, Jeff the Land Shark. Now, I haven't seen pure cuteness drive a character so far since Baby Yoda. I think this character is going places, and if you would like his first appearance, you're looking at West Coast Avengers issue number 7. Not very hard to find at all. I would say a difficulty rating of about 3, but the prices are starting to go up on this because of his popularity and demand. Something to keep in mind when you're out there hunting comics. Look around for a lot of prices before you make a decision. If you end up finding that condition in comic books does not matter to you, you're going to find your hunt way more affordable than other people. But if it does matter to you, you're probably right now going to be looking at $50 to sometimes $75 for a copy of Jeff's first appearance. Number 8, The Winter Soldier. Now, we're talking The Winter Soldier, not Bucky Barnes. Trust me, you don't want to try to find... I mean, you can try to find Bucky Barnes' first appearance, but you'll probably see if I do a part 2 of this why that might be kind of hard to do. However, The Winter Soldier first started out in 2005's Captain America issue number 6. Now, the cool thing about this one is that it actually has a variant cover, and the variant has the Winter Soldier on the cover as well. It looks like this, but a pretty common book, chase rate of about 3. All right, so I'm 5 for 8 on these, not too bad. But the next one, I definitely don't have. X-Men number 4. The Scarlet Witch. We're talking a very tough book to find here. We're talking the 1960s, the Silver Age of comics. We're talking a very popular title. X-Men. We're talking iconic characters. Not a whole lot of them out there, and if they are, people are not really going to want to sell them without a hefty price tag attached. Tough to find, tough to afford. This one gets a chase rate of 8.5. Number 10, Psylocke, aka Betsy Braddock. I have one of these somewhere. I can't find it. This will be a problem if you collect enough comics eventually. But she first entered the comic world in New Mutants Annual number 2. Not hard to find. You'll probably spend between $20 to $50 based on condition. I'm going to give this a chase rate of 3.5. But if you want a tougher Psylocke challenge, how about a chase rate of 10 on this Uncanny X-Men issue number 510, the J. Scott Campbell black and white variant from 2009. This thing is what we call a modern variant ghost. This is one of those that not many people will ever lay eyes on. It is new, it is beautiful, it is scarce. Good luck. Number 11, Marvel's version of Batman, the White Knight, the Moon Knight. Want to see a magic trick? Haha, well look at that. Werewolf by Night issue number 32. One that I definitely have, graded CGC 6.5, custom label. This is a Bronze Age horror beauty. These are some of my favorite types of books to collect. So Werewolf by Night number 32 came out in 1975. This was a little bit later in the run, so there actually wasn't as many of these printed as some of the earlier Werewolf by Night issues. Even low-grade copies of this are going to run you at bare minimum $500. And with his growing rate of popularity, this one gets a chase rate of 7.5. Not many comic shops are going to have this book on their back walls. Not to say that you can't find them, but you got to visit quite a few shops probably before you run into it. Number 10 is Squirrel Girl. And this one might be as sneaky as that Strange Tales 110, because you would never know that Squirrel Girl first appeared in Marvel's Superhero Winter Special. This one right here is a recent pickup of mine that came in a collection, a beautiful newsstand copy. This one gets a difficulty rating of a 4.5. Definitely out there. High grade is going to run you probably between $50 to $70. Brace yourselves for number 13. Comic book royalty is entering the stage. Everyone's favorite gooey little moocher, Venom. First appeared in Amazing Spider-Man issue number 300. Once you enter the hobby, you will know this cover very, very well. It's iconic. It came out in the Copper Age. In fact, some refer to it as the King of Copper. Not very low printed, definitely out there, but this is a book that most collectors want in their collection. This cover here is one of the most iconic covers in comic book history, and it was done by comic book artist Todd McFarlane. You might have already heard his name. If you haven't, he is a pillar in the comic book industry for multiple reasons. Some people will tell you that he appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 299. That is technically true, but one thing you're going to find when you enter this hobby is that there's two types of key issues. The first book and the better book. This, I promise you, is the better book. Now, if you just want a completely beat up reader copy of this, you're probably going to look at $200. This gets a difficulty rating of 5. Very easy to find if you just look, but they're pretty pricey. All right, I got 3 more for you, and they are good. Let's go with Groot. First appearing in 1960's Tales to Astonish issue number 13. There he is right there on the cover. This is a tough one. I don't think I've seen this book ever. You're looking at a minimum of $1,000 even for a beat up reader copy. Might I add a more realistic option? Incredible Hulk issue annual number 5. The second appearance of Groot. There he is right there on the cover. See, in comics, when books get out of some people's reach, a great viable option is to go for the second appearance. This is the first time that a lot of people that are alive today have seen him, was probably in this book. So if you don't feel like tracking this one down with the chase rate of an 8.5, this is a great option. Let's hear it for the short king himself, Logan the Wolverine. Now we are entering the most debated territory in comic book history. We're going to use the same outlook that we had for the Amazing Spider-Man 300, which is there's the first book and there's the better book. Incredible Hulk issue 181. You might have seen this on posters and Target art wall decor. This one is just as iconic as the Amazing Spider-Man 300, and again is a book that is on most collectors' want list. Now, is it scarce? It is not. But it is definitely sought after, and it does run you a hefty price. At a bare minimum, even the most beat up copy of this book here would cost you at least $1,000. Now, something to keep in mind with this Bronze Age book and the one that's coming up lastly, these books contain what they call a Marvel Value stamp. Basically, it's a tiny stamp that's inside the book that for most collectors to consider the book to be complete needs to have that stamp still intact. So when most collectors actually buy this book, or before they buy this book, they check to see if that stamp is in there. If that is something that you think means something to you, I suggest you do it as well. Iconic Bronze Age comic book here. Chase rate of a 7. And last but definitely not least, we are going to Marvel Premiere issue number 15, the first appearance of Iron Fist, aka Danny Rand, first appeared the same year as Wolverine, 1974. This one right here, for a mid-grade copy, you're looking at about $200 and can quickly approach the $400 range in a higher grade copy. In the 70s, Kung Fu was huge, and look how beautiful it was as well. And this character is just a direct representation of the love for Kung Fu culture and comic book heroes. This is a book I think everybody should at least hold once in their comic hunting lifetime. Marvel Premiere issue number 15. Chase rate of a 6.5. Now this was just part 1. There's still a ton of characters to go through and skins. Loki, Thor, Spider-Man. We have only begun to touch the surface of the historic books associated with your favorite Marvel Rivals characters. A part 2 will be on the way shortly. Hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Which of these books are you going to chase down? Gamers, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for stopping in. I hope to see you on the next page.